angels willing to hold us in their arms. When our worth was stone in our ashes, and we both passed on. Let forever mean forever and carry on.
I was thinking, I don't know why, I was thinking Pelosi was the one that was going to give the response. But whatever, you know. It was a bunch of gibberish. Anyway, I mean, it really was. But I think that about both parties. I really do, because, you know, you can't demand taxes like both Republicans and Democrats do, regardless of the cause or the reason for wanting the taxes, and claim to be conservative, okay, or constitutional. So it's interesting. It's interesting that you know, I always get a kick out of listening to both sides, and you know, the Democrats, everybody's used to. But their bullshit is like up front, and they don't really hide it, you know. But the red team, that's a different story. We want smaller government. We want smaller government. We're going to put this law in, and this law in, and this regulation. So, you know, that's why I always say the blue team communists and the red team communists, because they're both communists. They just, one wants to fund the military-industrial complex, and the other one wants to fund all of these social interests. And I'm not including the welfare programs and all of that in there. I'm talking about the other programs the government has no business involved in, like with the push for any type of, I'm trying to think of the right words here, special interest group, whether it be the LGBTQYRS, or whether it be, you know, anything, any type of special interest. There are so many of them now. It's hard. The mind is even blurry thinking of all the special interests we have today, and that's largely a Democrat or a left thing to shovel money into those interests, and it's theft. Taxation is theft. I saw a meme yesterday, I think it was, that I had to crack up because it said, choose one, and it had A and B, or 1 and 2, whichever, and it was tax. You know, the first one is taxation is theft, and the second option was build the wall. It's like, you know, that pretty much laid it out. Now, mind you, I am firmly 100% not against, but in favor of building a wall. We have to. That's the federal government's one job, right? Its one job is defend this country and defend its borders. That's its one job. It was given one job, okay? And so in reality, that's the only thing it's supposed to be doing. It's not supposed to be in every other facet of our lives. Now, see, if you want to be a truly conservative person, that means you have to drop everything else aside from defending our country, which does not mean going and blowing people up because you want their oil or you want their gold or other natural resources. That's not defending the country, okay? And, you know, defending the country and making sure that our borders are secure. That's it. So you have to drop everything. You have to drop the drug war. You have to drop the war on terror. You have to drop all these wars, right? And that's just not something that you see many people do, or at least get behind. And in fact, the ones that you do see get behind it get mocked terribly, terribly bad, like Ron Paul, like Cash Jackson, you know, which is a shame he couldn't even make it in the debates. Gary Johnson at one time was that way, but I don't know what happened with Gary Johnson. He made a major change, and I don't know what happened there. I don't know if he got bought out by special interest or what. That's what I believe happened to Rand Paul. I think Rand Paul was bought out by special interest, and that's why he's nothing like his father. But, you know, you don't see many of them. You don't see many of them, because when you do that, that means you give up control, and that's whether it's blue team or red team. That's what they want. They want control. They want to control. They want to dictate. You know, they want to tell you what to do in every aspect of your lives. If it was anything otherwise, you would see a lot of insane moves being made today. You would see companies like Google, YouTube, Amazon, Facebook. You would see these companies just obliterated. And I mean, we're talking about people being charged. We're talking about people going to prison for life. Okay, but you don't see that. Why don't you see that? Because of private interests, okay? All of these companies, all these corporations are threatening our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, whether it be from the technology giants to big pharma. Okay, they are threatening our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, which is the only thing that they're supposed to be, you know, protecting, aside from borders and whatnot. They're supposed to protect our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. But instead of protecting it, they're funding it. They're helping fund. You better believe the government helps fund these technological giants. They help fund big pharma. Okay, that's one thing that I have applauded Trump from day one, was his efforts that he has made against big pharma. And I hope it continues. I really hope that's something that he's serious about. There were some really good things that he spoke about tonight, and some things that I stand firmly behind him on. And that's one of those things. If we want to fix healthcare in this country, you know, it's not by mandating insurance to everybody. It's not, you know, there is a healthcare reform. There is a true healthcare reform, but it doesn't start with anything involved with the taxpayers. Okay? It starts with going after the medical providers, and when I say medical providers, I'm also speaking about big pharma, people that supply medical devices, you know, and most importantly, insurance companies. Going after those people, the ones that are making the medical costs so insanely high. There's a young lady, her name is Sophia, right? Sophia. And she had started a GoFundMe. She has cerebral palsy. She needs to have a standing wheelchair, right? She needs to have a standing wheelchair. She had started, or somebody had started for her, a GoFundMe account. And what was it that she's gotten up to? 30? Okay, she's up to little over $26,000, okay? The chair, the stand-up wheelchair is originally, $50,000, right? $54,000. And they reduced the price to what, babe? 34,000, something like that. They reduced the price to. For a wheelchair, folks. For a wheelchair. Now, mind you, this is a fancy wheelchair. It's electric, and it goes from a sitting position to a standing position. It's not your run-of-the-mill, somebody's pushing you down the hallway wheelchair. Okay, I get that, right? But really, and they won't work with her. She just posted something today from the company stating that they have dropped the price as much as they're going to drop the price, and well, she's just shit out of luck. And here, you know, she's raised all this money to help get this chair. And there's a problem here, folks. There's a problem here. How many millions of dollars was raised in how short of a time to fund building the wall? But many of the same people won't help this lady get a better life. Now that tells me that and I'm a strong supporter of the wall. I've said that, and I mean that. I am a strong supporter of the wall, but that's not for charity. Okay? That's one of the two things that our government, our federal government, is supposed to do for us with all that tax money. Right? All that tax money. That is one of the few jobs that they're supposed to do for us. But we can't energize the American people enough to help this young lady live a better life, right? You don't go out and do something ignorant one day and then wake up with cerebral palsy. No. That's not how it usually works anyway. I mean, you can get cerebral palsy after you're born. There are different situations that can cause you to get cerebral palsy, but this woman was born with it. Right? She was born with it. And you hear a lot of people on the right, the ones that don't want to talk about health care and stuff like that, okay? And they want to talk about pro-life and the sanctity of life and all that, but they sure don't give a fuck about people after they're born. They only care up to that point. They don't want people to make a living wage. At the same time, they don't want people to be on a social welfare type of system so that they can have food to eat, so that they can have their medications that Big Pharma has pushed on them and got them addicted to. No. Once you're born, red team doesn't give a fuck. Not at all. Nope. And blue team don't either. I'm not talking up blue team here. No, they don't care either. Nobody does. That's the problem. That's the problem. I know it doesn't make me very popular telling the truth, but that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. How many billions of dollars was spent last weekend watching a bunch of overpaid steroid addicts rolling on the ground in tights together? There's not a problem in this country? There most certainly is a problem in this country. But it's with us. Because if we had our heads out of our asses, this government wouldn't be allowed to exist. Plain and simple. That's the truth. That is the true State of the Union. Don't have to like it. But at some point, we have to admit it. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. Probably pissed plenty of people off by now. I hope everybody has a good night. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow if the drones don't strike us. And we'll see you then. So as always, God bless you. We love you. And be one with your spirit.